Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I want to talk about a powerful truth, a truth that we often overlook, doubt, and even deny. It's the idea that no matter what you've been told or what you've told yourself, you are enough. Believing in your worth is not about arrogance or superiority, it's about understanding your intrinsic value as a human being. Too often, people get caught up in the constant quest for validation, needing others to tell them they're good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough. They base their self-worth on fleeting opinions, external standards, and social approval. But real worth, true self-worth, can't be given by anyone else. It's something that comes from within, and the only person who can truly acknowledge it, nurture it, and live by it is you. That's where the journey to believing in your worth truly begins. Believing in your worth means letting go of the need for constant approval. Many people feel they need to be validated by others to feel valuable, and when that validation isn't there, they question their worth. But if you constantly look outward for confirmation, you end up on an endless chase, a search that keeps you reliant on something that is beyond your control. What if instead you could look within and know, without a shadow of a doubt, that you are enough just as you are? What if you could silence the urge to chase approval because you already feel whole, already feel complete? This is what it means to believe in your worth, to look within and find that sense of enoughness that doesn't waver or depend on the opinions of others. When you believe in your worth, you set boundaries, not out of fear, but out of respect for yourself. You stop letting people treat you any kind of way because you know that you deserve better. You understand that boundaries aren't about keeping others out, but about preserving your own sense of peace and self-respect. You stop bending over backward just to make people like you. You don't try to please everyone because you know that your worth doesn't come from pleasing others, it comes from staying true to yourself. Believing in your worth means that you won't allow others to define you, and you won't shape yourself to fit someone else's mold. You stand tall, unapologetic, knowing that you are enough without needing to conform to anyone else's idea of who you should be. It's not always easy to believe in your worth, especially when you live in a world that constantly tells you you're not enough. We're bombarded by messages from the media, from advertisements, even from well-meaning people in our lives that we need to be better, do more, have more in order to be worth anything. But believing in your worth means learning to shut out that noise. It means learning to differentiate between what is truly valuable and what is just a distraction. Your worth doesn't lie in having the latest car, the biggest house, or the perfect body. Those things may be nice, but they are not what make you valuable. What makes you valuable is your character, your kindness, your integrity, your resilience, your spirit. No material possession or external accolade can match the worth that already exists within you if only you are willing to see it. Believing in your worth also changes how you handle failure and setbacks. When you truly know your worth, you understand that failure is a part of growth, not a reflection of your value as a person. People who lack a deep sense of self-worth often see failure as a confirmation of their worst fears that they're not good enough. But when you believe in yourself, failure is just a lesson, a stepping stone to something greater. You see that setbacks are part of life's journey, and they don't diminish your value one bit. You pick yourself up, learn from your mistakes, and move forward with a deeper sense of self-assurance. Because when you know your worth, you don't let one bad day, one mistake, or one rejection define you. Believing in your worth means embracing your uniqueness. There is no one else like you in this world, no one with the same combination of experiences, talents, strengths, and perspectives. When you recognize that, you stop trying to compare yourself to others. Comparison robs you of joy and makes you question your own journey. But believing in your worth means that you don't need to be like anyone else, because you already have your own unique gifts to offer. You begin to see that your individuality is your strength, not something to be hidden or diminished. You start to stand out in your own way, embracing the qualities that make you who you are, and in doing so, you inspire others to do the same. The more you believe in your worth, the more confidence you exude. Confidence isn't just about being loud or outspoken, it's about carrying yourself with a quiet assurance, knowing that you have value. When you believe in your worth, you walk into any room with your head held high, not because you think you're better than anyone else, but because you know you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You don't shrink, you don't hide, and you don't settle. You show up as you are, with all your strengths and all your imperfections, and that's enough. People can sense that confidence, and they respect it because they can see that you respect yourself. Believing in your worth isn't about perfection. It's about embracing your flaws and realizing they don't make you any less worthy. We're all imperfect, all works in progress. There will be days when you don't feel at your best, when you make mistakes, when you doubt yourself. But even in those moments, your worth remains intact. You don't have to be flawless to be valuable. Your value lies in your authenticity, in being real, in showing up as your true self. Believing in your worth also allows you to give more freely to others. When you know that you are enough, you don't feel the need to hold back out of fear or insecurity. You're willing to help others, to lift them up, because you're not threatened by their success. You know that someone else's achievements don't diminish your own. Instead, they inspire you. Believing in your worth means you can celebrate the success of others without feeling like it takes anything away from you. You recognize that there is enough room for everyone to shine, and you become the kind of person who encourages others to believe in their own worth as well. The inner critic is one of the most destructive forces that can hold us back from reaching our full potential. It's the voice inside our heads that tells us we're not good enough, that we're unworthy of success or happiness, and that we will inevitably fail. This voice can be loud, persistent, and deeply convincing, often speaking with the authority of someone we trust, like a parent, a teacher, or even our own past failures. The inner critic doesn't stop, it never takes a break. It's always there, ready to pounce whenever we try to take a step forward, to try something new, or to chase a dream. But here's the truth: that voice is a liar. It doesn't have the power to define who you are or what you're capable of, unless you allow it to. The key to overcoming the inner critic is to recognize it for what it is: a source of negativity, fear, and self-doubt that has no place in your life if you want to grow and achieve your goals. The inner critic thrives on insecurity and self-doubt. Its power lies in making you question your abilities and worth. It tells you that you're not smart enough, not talented enough, not disciplined enough to achieve your goals. It capitalizes on your vulnerabilities, your fears, and your past mistakes to convince you that you don't deserve success. It loves to play on repeat, always focusing on your shortcomings, amplifying your fears, and drowning out any positive thoughts. When you listen to this voice, it can make you feel paralyzed and stuck, as though you are trapped by your own mind. But the moment you realize that this voice isn't the truth, you can begin to take away its power. One of the first steps in silencing the inner critic is becoming aware of it. Often it's so ingrained in our thinking that we don't even realize when we're listening to it. We might dismiss it as just reality or practical thinking, when in fact it's just our fears trying to keep us safe and small. Recognizing when the inner critic is speaking is crucial, because it's only when we become aware of its presence that we can challenge it. It's like a sneaky saboteur hiding in the background, trying to pull the strings of our decisions and emotions. The moment you acknowledge that the inner critic is speaking, you can begin to question whether its claims are valid. Is it really true that you're not good enough? Or is it just a narrative that you've allowed to shape your beliefs? Once you identify the inner critic, you can start to counter its messages with empowering, positive affirmations. This doesn't mean just blindly telling yourself that you're perfect or that everything will be okay. It means deliberately choosing to focus on your strengths, your accomplishments, and your potential. It means speaking to yourself with kindness and compassion, just as you would encourage a friend who was struggling. Rather than allowing the inner critic to run wild with negative self-talk, take control of your thoughts by redirecting them. If the inner critic says, "You'll never be able to do this," you can respond with, "I faced challenges before, and I have the ability to learn and grow from them." This shift in perspective can make a world of difference in how you approach obstacles and opportunities. Instead of seeing them as insurmountable, you begin to view them as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. Another important aspect of silencing the inner critic is practicing self-compassion. The inner critic often feeds off our mistakes and perceived failures, using them as evidence that we're not enough. But mistakes don't define us, they are simply part of the journey. When you make a mistake, instead of berating yourself and letting the inner critic take control, treat yourself with the same compassion you would offer to a loved one. Mistakes are not failures, they are learning experiences. Each one is an opportunity to grow stronger, smarter, and more resilient. Self-compassion allows you to acknowledge your mistakes without letting them define your worth or your future. It allows you to bounce back, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward with greater wisdom. The inner critic also thrives on perfectionism, a constant need to be flawless in everything you do. This is another area where you can challenge the voice inside your head. Perfectionism is an unrealistic standard that sets you up for failure before you even start. When you're constantly striving for perfection, you're setting yourself up for disappointment and frustration because perfection simply doesn't exist. Instead of trying to do everything perfectly, focus on progress. Celebrate small wins and acknowledge that growth is a gradual process. This mindset shift not only helps silence the inner critic, but also frees you from the paralyzing fear of making mistakes. The goal is to embrace progress over perfection, understanding that every step forward, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction. One of the most powerful ways to silence the inner critic is by taking action. The inner critic loves to keep you in a state of inaction, feeding on your doubts and fears. It tells you that you're not ready, not capable, not enough to take that next step. But the more you let fear control your decisions, the more powerful the inner critic becomes. Action is the antidote to self-doubt. When you take action, you prove to yourself that you are capable, that you can handle challenges, and that you don't need to wait for perfection or approval to get started. Each action you take, no matter how small, weakens the grip of the inner critic and reinforces your belief in your ability to succeed. In addition, surrounding yourself with positive, supportive people is another way to combat the inner critic. When you are around individuals who encourage and believe in you, it becomes easier to ignore the voice of doubt in your head. Positive reinforcement from others can serve as a counterbalance to the negativity inside your own mind. You don't need to. Surround yourself with people who are constantly telling you how amazing you are, but having a network of individuals who genuinely care about you and want to see you succeed can provide the necessary boost when the inner critic tries to bring you down. The right people can remind you of your worth, your potential, and the strength you have within you. The inner critic's ultimate goal is to keep you stuck, afraid, and in a constant state of self-doubt. But it can only do this if you allow it to. By becoming aware of its presence, challenging its negative messages, practicing self-compassion, and taking decisive action, you can begin to take control of your own narrative. You have the power to silence that voice and replace it with a voice of empowerment, strength, and confidence. You are enough, just as you are, and no amount of negative self-talk can change that reality. The journey to acting like you are enough begins with understanding the power of self-belief. It is the foundation of everything you will achieve in life. Self-belief isn't just a passing thought or an occasional affirmation. It's a deep-rooted conviction that you have value, that you matter, and that you are capable of achieving your dreams, no matter how big they may seem. Often. The challenge is not whether you can achieve success, but whether you believe you deserve it. The greatest obstacle we face in pursuing our dreams is often not external circumstances, but the internal struggle that questions our worth. When you doubt yourself, you place limits on your potential. You unconsciously sabotage your own growth by not allowing yourself to step into your full power. It's not that you lack the ability, but that you lack the belief that you are enough to achieve what you want. Self-belief is not something that magically appears overnight. It's something you have to cultivate every single day. It requires you to continuously affirm your worth, to trust your instincts, and to push past the voices of doubt that inevitably arise. It's about training your mind to think positively, to focus on what you can do rather than what you cannot, and to view setbacks as temporary obstacles rather than permanent roadblocks. Developing self-belief is a process, and it starts with small steps. Every time you choose to believe in yourself, you strengthen that belief and gradually erase the self-doubt that tries to creep in. Self-belief is a muscle that gets stronger with use. The more you act like you are enough, the more you will start to see evidence of your own capabilities. One of the most powerful ways to act like you are enough is to shift your mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance. When you operate from a mindset of scarcity, you focus on what you lack, whether it's skills, resources, or opportunities. This mindset reinforces the belief that you're not enough. It traps you in a cycle of comparison, jealousy, and insecurity, because you're constantly looking at what others have and wondering why you don't have it too. Operating from an abundant mindset, however, changes everything. When you believe there is more than enough success, love, and happiness to go around, you stop focusing on what you don't have and start focusing on what you do have. You begin to recognize your own strengths, your own unique talents, and the opportunities that exist for you. Instead of comparing yourself to others, you become focused on your own growth and potential. This shift in thinking allows you to embrace the belief that you are enough and that there is room for you to succeed in your own unique way. Self-belief also involves taking risks and stepping outside of your comfort zone. It's easy to stay in the familiar, to play it safe, and to avoid anything that might make you feel insecure or uncertain. But growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. To truly act like you are enough, you have to take chances and put yourself in situations where you might fail or make mistakes. It's in these moments of vulnerability that you learn the most about yourself. When you act despite your fears and doubts, you reinforce the idea that you are capable and deserving of success. Each step outside your comfort zone, no matter how small, reinforces your self-belief and your confidence in your abilities. Taking risks is not about being reckless, it's about trusting yourself enough to try, to put yourself out there, and to believe that no matter the outcome, you are enough. The next crucial aspect of acting like you are enough is learning to silence the negative self-talk that we all face. We all have that voice in our heads that criticizes us, tells us we're not good enough, and makes us second-guess our every move. This inner dialogue can be incredibly damaging if left unchecked. It's important to recognize that these thoughts are not facts. They're just thoughts. The more you give in to negative self-talk, the more you reinforce the belief that you're not enough. But when you consciously challenge these thoughts and replace them with positive affirmations, you start to rewrite the narrative in your mind. Instead of thinking, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough, you can choose to think, I am capable, or I have the strength to handle this over time. This positive self-talk becomes your default, and the negative thoughts become less powerful. You start to believe that you are enough because you've consistently told yourself that you are. Another key component to acting like you are enough is learning to forgive yourself. We all make mistakes. We all have moments where we fall short of our own expectations and sometimes even the expectations of others. But those mistakes do not define you. They are simply part of the process of growth. It's essential to stop beating yourself up over past failures and learn to forgive yourself. Forgiveness is not about excusing your mistakes. It's about releasing the power they hold over you. When you forgive yourself, you stop allowing your past failures to limit your future success. You stop letting the fear of making mistakes hold you back from taking action. By forgiving yourself, you free yourself to act like you are enough, because you no longer carry the weight of guilt or shame. You acknowledge your mistakes, learn from them, and move forward with the confidence that you are deserving of success, just as you are. In addition to forgiveness, it's important to celebrate your successes, no matter how small they may seem. Often we're so focused on what's next that we forget to acknowledge how far we've come. Taking time to celebrate your achievements is a vital part of building self-belief. Every success, every step forward is proof that you are enough. Celebrating these wins, whether it's finishing a challenging project, overcoming a fear, or simply getting through a tough day, reinforces the belief that you are capable. When you take time to reflect on your progress, you shift your focus from what you haven't accomplished to what you have. This shift in perspective helps you recognize the value you bring to the table and strengthens your belief in your own worth. Ultimately, acting like you are enough requires a deep level of self-respect and self-worth. You have to believe that you deserve the life you want. You have to act as though you are already worthy of success, happiness, and all the good things that come with it. This is not arrogance, it's self-assurance. It's knowing that you have what it takes to reach your goals and that you are deserving of every success that comes your way. The more you act like you are enough, the more you will start to see the evidence of your own worth in the world around you. The universe responds to the energy you put out, and when you believe in yourself and your abilities, you begin to attract the opportunities, people, and experiences that align with your vision. Belief in yourself isn't just a feeling, it's a way of life. When you choose to act like you are enough, you're not just transforming how you see yourself, you're also transforming how the world perceives you. The way you carry yourself, the way you show up in life, directly impacts how others engage with you. There's a powerful shift that happens when you stop seeking validation from external sources and start relying on your internal sense of worth. The moment you truly believe you are enough, you stop allowing others' opinions to dictate your value. You no longer seek approval or permission to succeed, because you've already given that to yourself. The truth is that people are drawn to those who are confident in their own skin, who radiate self-assurance and authenticity. When you start acting like you are enough, you stop living for other people's expectations and start living for your own. And in doing so, you attract opportunities, relationships, and success that are aligned with your true self. One of the most significant changes that comes with acting like you are enough is that you begin to let go of the need for perfection. Perfectionism is often rooted in the belief that you are not enough as you are, that you must constantly improve, fix, or change in order to meet an impossible standard. This can be mentally and emotionally exhausting because no matter how much you do, it never feels like it's enough. Perfectionism feeds the inner critic, and it creates a constant cycle of self-doubt and frustration. But when you embrace the idea that you are enough just as you are, you release yourself from this constant need for perfection. Instead of obsessing over every little detail or striving to meet an unattainable standard, you begin to focus on doing your best in any given moment, knowing that your best is enough. This doesn't mean settling for mediocrity. It means recognizing that your efforts, no matter the outcome, are worthy of respect. When you let go of perfectionism, you free yourself from the fear of failure and the paralyzing need for external validation. Part of acting like you are enough also involves setting boundaries and learning to say no. When you don't feel like you're enough, it's easy to overextend yourself, to say yes to everything and everyone in an attempt to gain approval or prove your worth. But this behavior is not sustainable. You end up drained, overwhelmed, and resentful because you're giving more of yourself than you can afford to give. You might say yes out of fear of disappointing others or out of the need to be liked, but in doing so, you neglect your own needs. And you undermine your own value. Setting boundaries is not about being selfish, it's about protecting your energy and ensuring that you're not sacrificing your well-being in an effort to please others. When you act like you are enough, you recognize that your time, energy, and resources are valuable, and you deserve to prioritize yourself. Saying no is an act of self-respect. It allows you to conserve your energy for the things that truly matter to you, and it reinforces the belief that you are worthy of taking care of yourself. Instead, you start to recognize the power and potential that resides within you. This shift in perspective changes everything: how you approach challenges, how you interact with others, and how you make decisions. The world begins to respond to you differently when you start believing in your own worth. People can sense confidence, authenticity, and self-assurance. They are drawn to those who act like they are enough because it's magnetic. When you understand that you are enough, you stop comparing yourself to others. You stop measuring your worth against someone else's achievements or standards. Comparison is a thief of joy. And when you let go of it, you allow yourself to celebrate your own journey without feeling like you have to compete with anyone else. Each person has a unique path, and when you acknowledge your own, you stop wasting energy trying to measure up to someone else's. One of the first things that happens when you start acting like you are enough is that you stop seeking validation from external sources. You begin to understand that your value does not depend on what others think of you or how they treat you. This is a powerful realization because so many people live their lives based on the approval of others. They make decisions and shape their actions around what will make others happy or what will gain their favor. But when you know that you are enough, you stop waiting for permission from others. You start making decisions based on your own values, your own beliefs, and your own desires. You stop second-guessing yourself and become confident in your choices. You no longer need to constantly check in with others or seek their approval because you trust yourself in the path you're walking. Another important shift that occurs when you act like you are enough is that you stop letting fear dictate your actions. Fear is often at the root of our insecurities and self-doubt. We are afraid to fail, afraid to make mistakes, afraid that we are not good enough to succeed. But when you start acting like you are enough, fear no longer holds the same power over you. You begin to understand that fear is a natural part of growth and that it's not something to be avoided, but something to be faced head-on. Acting like you are enough means embracing your fear and moving forward despite it. You start taking risks, stepping out of your comfort zone, and pursuing the things that once seemed impossible. You understand that failure is not a reflection of your worth, but an opportunity to learn and grow. Each failure is a stepping stone on the path to success, and when you act like you are enough, you are willing to fail forward. Additionally, when you act like you are enough, you begin to value your time and energy in a way that you never have before. Many people, especially those who struggle with self-worth, tend to overextend themselves for others. They give their time, their energy, and their resources to people and things that drain them, simply because they don't feel like they deserve to say no. But when you truly believe that you are enough, you start to protect your energy. You recognize that your time is valuable and that you deserve to spend it on the things and people that truly align with your goals and values. You learn to set boundaries and say no when necessary, understanding that by doing so, you are honoring yourself. You stop people-pleasing and begin to prioritize your own needs without feeling guilty. This newfound respect for your time and energy leads to greater productivity, more meaningful relationships, and a deeper sense of fulfillment. Acting like you are enough also enables you to show up more authentically in the world. When you don't feel like you are enough, it's easy to put on a mask, to pretend to be someone you're not in order to fit in or gain approval. But when you start acting like you are enough, you stop pretending. You embrace who you truly are, the strengths, the flaws, the quirks, the passions, and the purpose that make you unique. You stop apologizing for who you are, and instead you celebrate it. You begin to understand that authenticity is not only attractive, but it is also the key to living a fulfilling life. When you act like you are enough, you no longer feel the need to wear a facade. You show up in the world as your true self, and in doing so, you attract people who appreciate you for who you truly are. One of the greatest gifts of acting like you are enough is that it allows you to cultivate a sense of peace within yourself. So many people spend their lives in turmoil, constantly battling their inner critic and striving to meet unrealistic expectations. This internal conflict drains energy and diminishes joy. But when you act like you are enough, you stop fighting yourself. You accept yourself, flaws and all. You forgive yourself for past mistakes and stop holding yourself to impossible standards. You begin to practice self-compassion and learn to treat yourself with kindness and understanding. This sense of peace within yourself translates to every area of your life. You handle challenges with grace, you make decisions with confidence, and you approach your relationships with authenticity. You stop feeling like you have to prove anything to anyone because you already know that you are enough. Furthermore, acting like you are enough allows you to embrace your dreams and ambitions without hesitation. So many people hold back from pursuing their goals because they don't believe they are capable of achieving them. They think they are not smart enough, not talented enough, not worthy enough to succeed. But when you start acting like you are enough, you break free from these limiting beliefs. You begin to understand that your dreams are not out of reach, they are within your grasp. You start taking action toward your goals with a sense of confidence and determination. You recognize that you have the skills, the talent, and the drive to create the life you desire. And even if obstacles come your way, you don't back down. You keep moving forward because you know that you are more than capable of achieving what you set out to do. When you start acting like you are enough, you shift your mindset, your behavior, and your energy. You begin to live your life with purpose, confidence, and authenticity. You let go of self-doubt, comparison, and the need for external validation. You set boundaries, value your time, and embrace your true self. You face your fears, pursue your dreams, and live with a deep sense of peace. Acting like you are enough is a powerful choice, a choice that has the potential to transform every area of your life. When you start acting like you are enough, you begin to develop a mindset that propels you toward your best self. This mindset is one that stops seeking external validation because you have come to realize that you do not need anyone's approval to know that you are worthy. It's a shift from being a passive participant in your life to taking ownership of your story. You stop doubting your abilities, second-guessing your decisions, or feeling like you are somehow lacking. Instead, you begin to trust yourself, your instincts, and your vision for your life. You have to remember that the only permission you need is the one you give yourself. This mental shift is foundational to building lasting confidence. It means learning to trust that you are enough just as you are, and that your efforts, no matter how big or small, matter. It means starting to trust your capacity to grow, to evolve, and to overcome challenges. When you act like you are enough, you stop seeing every setback or failure as proof that you are not good enough. You start to see them as opportunities to learn, grow, and become stronger. You accept that mistakes and setbacks are part of the journey and do not define you. Instead of judging yourself harshly for any missteps, you give yourself the grace to grow and keep moving forward. As you grow into this mindset, you also stop making comparisons to others. The constant comparison game is draining. It makes you feel like you're constantly measuring yourself against someone else's success, their accomplishments, or their progress. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking you are not enough when you constantly compare your journey to someone else's. But when you act like you are enough, you begin to see that comparison is irrelevant. Your life and your journey are uniquely yours. You don't need to be someone else to be successful or happy. When you truly embrace who you are, you start to see that your path is different from anyone else's, and that's perfectly fine. It's liberating to let go of that constant need for comparison. You stop wasting energy on competing or trying to measure up to someone else's life. Instead, you focus on your own journey, your own growth, and your own success. When you believe that you are enough, you learn to appreciate your individuality. You stop looking at others for validation, and you look inward to acknowledge your own strengths, talents, and value. This shift allows you to move forward with confidence and clarity, knowing that you are exactly where you need to be. Another profound effect of acting like you are enough is that you begin to set boundaries in a way that honors your worth. So many people struggle with saying no because they are afraid of disappointing others or being judged. But when you act like you are enough, you start to realize that your time and energy are valuable resources. You begin to prioritize your own well-being and stop overcommitting to things that don't align with your goals or values. Setting boundaries is a way of saying, I am enough and I will not give away my energy to things or people that drain me. Boundaries are not about being selfish, they are about protecting yourself so that you can show up as your best self. When you recognize that you are enough, you stop feeling guilty for saying no. You start to honor your time, your space, and your energy, and in doing so, you create more room for the things that truly matter. This might mean letting go of toxic relationships, setting clear limits at work, or simply carving out time for self-care. Whatever it looks like, setting boundaries becomes a powerful way to protect your peace and continue living in alignment with your true self. As you continue to act like you are enough, you start to embrace your imperfections and learn to love the parts of yourself you once deemed unworthy. We all have flaws, but those flaws don't define us, they add to our uniqueness. Acting like you are enough means accepting those imperfections and realizing they are part of your story. You stop trying to hide your flaws or pretend they don't exist. Instead, you acknowledge them, learn from them, and grow. It is this self-acceptance that leads to true confidence. You start to feel comfortable in your own skin, no longer feeling the need to constantly improve yourself to meet some standard that doesn't align with who you are. This is when the real transformation happens. You are no longer focused on changing who you are, but instead on becoming the best version of who you already are. This level of acceptance allows you to truly relax into your own life, to step into your power, and to begin living with authenticity. You stop apologizing for being yourself, and you start celebrating it. As you start acting like you are enough, you begin to recognize that you deserve success, love, and all the good things life has to offer. So many people hold themselves back from pursuing their dreams because they don't believe they are worthy of achieving them. But when you start acting like you are enough, you stop denying yourself the opportunity to pursue what you truly want. You realize that your desires are valid and that you are capable of achieving them. You stop feeling like you are too much or not enough.